Welcome back, Chelsea fans, to the London is Blue YouTube channel. Very excited to be here to talk about the Chelsea women. First, in this video, we're going to talk through the Champions League draw that happened on Friday of last week and all of the controversy that is now surrounding that as pertains to the WSL schedule and much more there. And then second half of the video will be just a quick review of the Crystal Palace match. Try and get these out quicker in the future, but had a little birthday weekend last weekend. So we're going to do it now. Please follow, subscribe. It really does help. We're going to be producing more Chelsea women's content on the channel. So let's dive right into it. All right, first up, Chelsea are back in the Women's Champions League. And of course, that is no surprise after Chelsea won the WSL last year, getting an automatic spot in the Women's Champions League. Just want to quickly rattle off, for those who don't know, the format of the Women's Champions League, because it's a little bit different than the men's format now, and we'll be adopting the similar format to the Men's Champions League next season, not this season. So this is your standard 16-team group stage, 4 groups of 4 playing each other home and away between October and December. The top 2 teams from each group then progress to the knockout phase in March. Quarterfinals and semifinals played over 2 legs, usually in April, and a one-off final in May. So Chelsea obviously qualified just by proxy of being the champions of the WSL last year, but Arsenal and Man City from the WSL also went through qualification to make it to the group stage as well, which is, I think, the first time that 3 English teams have been in the group stage, which is pretty amazing, and I think just indicative of the quality of the WSL continuing to grow. City obviously took Chelsea all the way to the wire last year in terms of the league. So just quick rules refresher there before we get into the groups, because the groups are pretty intense. Only 4 groups in the Women's Champions League. I think, hopefully expand this competition in the future as there's more investment in the women's game, which, we're on the right trajectory there. Group A, Lyon, Wolfsburg, Roma, Galatasaray. Group B, our beloved Chelsea, Real Madrid, FC Twente, and Celtic, who made a surprise entry through qualification. Group C, Bayern, Arsenal, Juventus, and Vålerenga, who make up Group C. And then Group D, tough one here, Barcelona, Man City, SC Bolton, and Hammarby. So these are all of the groups flat out. And just so you guys kind of have a thought exercise here for what these groups kind of entail, if you don't watch other women's football or other Champions League football, Chelsea are 3rd in the UEFA coefficient. Real Madrid are 8th. FC Twente is 28th. And Celtic are 57. So Celtic are really the surprise outfit that made our group, after a long qualification, and a little bit on them right now, because they have made the announcement that they are going to be under the lights during the Champions League match against Chelsea on Wednesday, November 13th at Celtic Park. So a big match, big stadium, obviously a pretty historic football stadium and a kind of a center of football in Scotland. From Bates in the Place, he says that Erin Cuthbert, as each day passes, marks an X on her calendar until the 13th of November, when she will, of course, make an epic homecoming. Very excited for her to hopefully get some nice applause on the other side for that one. But just to give you guys a sense of when these matches take place, right? Match day 1, 8th and 9th of October, so next week. Chelsea will play on the 8th. Match day 2, the 16th and 17th of October, so just the following week. Match day 3, the 12th and 13th of November. Match day 4, the 20th and 21st of November. Match day 5, the 11th and 12th of December. And match day 6, almost heading into the festive fixtures here, the 17th and 18th of December. And so, there's a lot going on here, but it's your pretty standard Champions League format. And I think because it's the last year and the changes that have happened on the men's side for all the UEFA competitions, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to the old format. I like the group stage. I like the knockout rounds. I like what we've always known. I don't know if I really like the play 6 different teams in a stack rank and the top seeds of it. It just feels odd to me. So savor this last Champions League where things are kind of normal, and that should be pretty fun. Uh, just gut reactions on the groups, right? Uh, Group A, this is from Shamrock Cards, and I think it's pretty accurate here. Group A will depend on if Wolfsburg, if they show up, they will certainly, advance with Lyon almost certainly, but Roma could be a surprise if Wolfsburg do not show up in the way that we expect them to. Group B is Chelsea and probably Madrid, but it would not shock me if Twente gave them a little bit of a run. Group C is impossible to call right now. Bayern, Arsenal, and Juventus are all worthy opponents of each other. It's going to be fascinating to see how that shakes out and how Arsenal balances WSL and Champions League during this time. It's going to be very, very interesting for them. Obviously, hope for the hardest possible path for Arsenal in anything. And then Group D is it's going to be a slugfest between Barcelona and Man City to see who tops the group there. Hard to see Polton or Hammarby coming out of that group. And so you kind of end with this because Sonia Bonpastor gave some quotes about the Champions League. She said, we're really excited to get started in the Champions League. I was watching the draw, and now it's finally set in. And we know who we'll be facing. I'm happy with the draw. I think the nice thing is that we don't have to travel too far. We have some fairly easy trips in terms of short travel distances, and I think this is important. The WSL is very competitive, but the Champions League is even more competitive. We never take more than one game for granted, and we will approach each fixture, both domestic and in Europe, with the same mentality. Important. It will be very difficult, and we need to use the squad, as now we will start playing 3 games a week. Or at least we'll try to play 3 games a week. More on that in a second. The schedule will become very busy, but this is expected when you're competing across many competitions. We will take each game step by step and look forward to the challenges ahead. And those challenges came pretty quickly right after the draw, because Chelsea were slated to play Manchester United in a top-of-the-table clash on Sunday, October 6th. And then 2 days later, we're set to play Real Madrid at Stamford Bridge in very short time. And so it was made known on Saturday, not Friday, on Saturday, that the Manchester United game was going to be postponed. A release from the club says, upon the release of the fixture schedule for our forthcoming UEFA Champions League group stage campaign, we're due to host Real Madrid at Stamford Bridge for match day 1 on Tuesday, October 8th. In light of the proximity between the 2 fixtures, the club raised its concerns regarding player welfare with relevant parties. Numerous discussions have since taken place in an attempt to find an amicable solution to the scheduling conflict between the league and UEFA, despite our best efforts to seek alternative options which would allow us to play both matches safely. These have been unsuccessful. It is therefore with sincere regret that we are left with no other option than to confirm the postponement of next weekend's WSL fixture. We are extremely disappointed with the outcome, but wish to reiterate that player welfare and the impact on our supporters are of the utmost importance to us. Details of the rearranged fixture with Manchester United will be communicated to supporters once confirmed, along with an update regarding ticket information. Supporters who purchased match tickets can claim a refund up to 48 hours prior to the new match date. The refund can be requested via the link on the website. Mark Skinner from United also commented saying, it's not ideal. However, it is in the best interest of the players for both Chelsea and United. It's probably the right decision in terms of benefits to their safety. It's frustrating that we don't have a game this weekend, but we can work around that. And this is not the only conflict either. So Chelsea are probably going to have to reschedule Leicester City away on the 15th of December to go to Madrid on the 17th of December as well. So hopefully the WSL can either advance that WSL game up a day or two, maybe have another Friday match or something like that, or it can be rescheduled amongst everything else. But I think the overall point on the Champions League is, one, I think Chelsea got very fortunate with the group. I think it should be a relatively simple group to advance out of. Sonia Bonpastor knows what she's doing. She's been very successful in this competition. So that is very good. The second thing is, this scheduling conflict is beyond stupid. Um, the Champions League dates have been known for a long time. The WSL dates have been known for a long time. The WSL could have easily moved this match up to a Friday or a Saturday to not compete with the Champions League dates, or the Champions League could have moved the match to a Wednesday. Um, I think there has to be better solutioning here from both sides. The WSL looks incredibly bad right now. I think the Champions League also looks bad in this, but probably not as much because they just finished qualification and it was entirely impossible to make the draw official until qualification was done. I just feel for the players because this was going to be a big weekend, right? Chelsea and United are both tied at the top of the table on 6 points. With Arsenal and City drawing first game of the season, this was a chance for Chelsea to put a little bit more distance in front of those two as they look to kind of claw back those 2 points and the goal differential that exists. And I just hope, you know, that the women's game gets treated more like the men's game does in these instances where, the schedules are known ahead of time, make the appropriate adjustments, either, maybe both leagues make an adjustment. Maybe the Chelsea game, Chelsea versus United game is on the Saturday, and then you move. So you move that a day earlier, and you move the Real Madrid game a day later just to accommodate. Because the really important thing, and you heard about player safety in these quotes, is that there's just been so many injuries. There's so many fixtures now. The pileup is for real, and Chelsea will begin to really advance, even though it's only been a couple matches so far this season. You factor in the WSL, the Champions League, the Conti Cup, and the FA Cup, and it really does get congested in a way that isn't very comfortable for anybody and can lead to injuries. We've seen a slew of ACL injuries, for example. So they need to figure this out, and they need to take it a hell of a lot more seriously. And so that's my call out for everybody is that please, please, please take this more seriously because it really is important. Next up, we're going to quickly touch on Chelsea's 7-0 win against Crystal Palace. Stick around for that. All right, the Champions League draw was not the only thing that was exciting on Friday for Chelsea women. They ended up going to Selhurst Park, a place where I have been multiple times, unfortunately, to see Chelsea men play. I've seen Chelsea men play and Chelsea women in the Conti Cup final in 2023, which is an unfortunate result to Arsenal there. But it's Crystal Palace, newly promoted, have a big game at home against Chelsea on a Friday night under the lights. Chelsea wearing the kind of punk rock black, pink, and yellow strip out there. It looked really good on TV, even though I'm not a massive fan of it in person. I've seen it. It's not my favorite. It does look good on TV. And so you had this newly promoted side in Crystal Palace up against the billion times over winners, league winners, Chelsea. And Chelsea did the business, although it might have been slightly harder than we anticipated. Chelsea did run out 7-0 winners over Crystal Palace. Goals from Aggie Beever-Jones, Lucy Bronze, Lauren James, Guro Reiten on the double, Natalie Bjorn, and Kat Macario. So this was a pretty dominant second half performance that saw Chelsea make a bunch of substitutions and get a few players involved that might not have been so far in the season. So just to refresh you on the lineup, Hannah Hampton retains her spot in goal. Lucy Bronze at right back, Millie Bright and Natalie Bjorn playing the center back partnership after Buchanan was in there for the first game. This was much more natural for Millie on the right-hand side and Bjorn on the left-hand side, and I think it functioned better, frankly, than Millie on the left and Buchanan on the right. Ashley Lawrence at left back for the still ailing Neve Charles. Shuka Nuskin playing kind of a deeper lying role in this game with Aaron Cuthbert and Guro Reiten more advanced as kind of 8-10s. Lauren James supposedly on the left. Her and Guro kind of flanked each other at times and kind of rotated. Lauren also just kind of had this free will where she was dropping deeper to get the ball. We'll talk more about that in a second. Cannerid on the right, and Aggie Beever-Jones getting a surprise start up top, which was really great to see after her excellent preseason. There were many subs. Myra Ramirez makes it in. Kat Macario makes it in. More on her in a second. Eve Parasset, Sandy Baltimore, and Vika Kaptein in the game. Unused subs, Zashira Musovic, Micah Hamano, Mela Simpom, and Kadisha Buchanan. The stats are pretty extraordinary when you look at this one, guys. 24 shots to 5 for Chelsea, 11 shots on target to 2, 71% possession for Chelsea, which is more Bone Pastor-esque in terms of possession, 649 passes to Palace's 276, 87% pass accuracy, much better than the first game. Chelsea did have 10 fouls, 1 yellow card, no red cards, and 7 corners. The moments in this one were kind of all over the place. It was kind of a slow start, kind of sluggish, out of sorts. I think Jesse Parker-Humphreys made a good note of this, that the ball was just not moving very quickly. And so the team was in possession, but it was easily taken off of them. Palace had kind of come out aggressive and were trying to make the most out of this, maybe kind of quick counter punch that they were putting out there. It was just not a great half. That obviously changes in the second half where Chelsea scores 6 goals. But Aggie did get the first goal in this game. It was a lovely finish from Joanna Rincanrid assist that was on a fast break. A nice early ball played through JRK on a huge sprint, cuts it back. Beautiful finish from Aggie. And that did start a little bit of a snowball because Chelsea were dominant in the second half of the first half. And I think that led into a really good halftime moment. There were subs made, as I just referenced. Myra comes on and I think does change the game a little bit. Puts Aggie out wide. I think Aggie out wide and Myra up top was a much better combination than just Aggie up top. And she still has a little development to do there up top, but it was an excellent second half. 6 goals, kind of each one better than the next. Lucy Bronze gets an absolute, she hits a screamer into the upper left-hand corner. Just a delightful goal. She said, "I'm happy to score. We need another goal at that moment at the start of the second half. To get it early was good, and it sparked us to get more and more goals," which we absolutely did. The third goal was Aggie to Myra to LJ. This was a clinical goal. Aggie with some excellent footwork on the wing. Myra, an excellent pass across face of goal. And then LJ's there to kind of clean up. The third goal was Macario to Captain to Guror. We got our first official Guror of the season. Guro gets the goal, which was a good finish into the right-hand corner. The fourth goal, actually fifth goal, was Natalie Bjorn. She kind of was backing off of a bit of a corner that was taken that was over everyone's head that gets flicked on. She's there to just poke it into the back of the net, which was very clean and efficient. Good to see her get a goal. The sixth goal was truly excellent skill from Sandy Baltimore with a nice little pass into Guro. They did not close her down. She kind of just slotted it past the goalkeeper on the right. She did mention, "I was disappointed after the last game because I really should have scored a couple of goals. I've been really focused on scoring this week, and it was good to score 2 goals, the first on the left, the second on my right foot." So she got both involved there. And then the final goal gave everyone a lot of heart because it was Kat Macario playing it into Myra Ramirez, who shoots on target. The goalkeeper saves it. And then Macario steams in and just pokes it through for our 7th goal in the 95th minute. And the amount of celebration that happened around her was truly, truly excellent. And I think it was indicative of a team who absolutely is rallied around her and wants her to be at her best. The context for this game is really interesting, right? Because Chelsea are, it's been a slugfest in the WSL for the last couple of years, down to a point or two or to goal differential to win the league. And so Chelsea needs to win these matches against the bottom teams in the table. No offense to Crystal Palace. I think they're going to struggle to stay up this season. And Guro even said as much after the game. She said, "We know how important each game is. We won the league on goal difference last year, so you never know what's going to happen. It's going to be tight. You can already see the level. It's getting tougher to win every single year. So we've got to step up, be better, better, and go against next week, not better." And it was an interesting game, too, for Chelsea because the first game of the season was like, underwhelming from a possession standpoint. Chelsea were struggling to pass the ball. I think had 78% pass accuracy. It was just kind of sloppy and all over the place. This was slightly better. More possession. Palace are really poor. Villa were much better in the first game than Palace were in the second game. And, again, once the tempo picked up in the passing, that's where Chelsea were really incisive. That's where they started to break down Palace's low block that was there to kind of frustrate us. And, Guro continues with the quote. She said it was a hard first half. They defended really well. We talked about doing everything a bit quicker in the second half. That opened up and we scored more goals. I think we were better on the ball in the second half. We moved it around better, and it's hard to defend because there's going to be space somewhere, and we found it. And she said we were just trying to create different spaces. We've got different players with different attributes. Some can dribble, some are better long distance shooters, some are better in the box. So I think, for us, when we're watching this team evolve this season, how quickly can the ball move? How quickly can the ball move from defense to midfield to attack? And how quickly can the ball move against these low block teams who are going to set out to frustrate us? And, I think once Chelsea got the second and third goal, the floodgates really do open. That is kind of a mental difficulty for the other team to kind of keep up with your movement after you've already put two or three past them. So Chelsea really do need to be efficient and effective in front of goal because the defense is good enough to, I think, keep the ball out of the back of the net, and the defense will continue to get better, I think. But scoring goals is kind of a hallmark of this team. And so a 7-0 win brings a smile to everybody's face. The last thing I want to talk about in the context of this game is Mac. Macario back is just so important for this team. We've barely seen her. She's had a long-term injury. Emma Hayes, notably took most of last season to get her back and really healthy and being able to play. She had a bit of an injury setback this summer, unable to make the U.S. Women's national team for the Olympics, had to pull out of that, was kind of sidelined for some of the preseason, and it's just working her way back. And so I think there's some cautious optimism here around Macario because as a passer, we have so many great players in this team, but as a passer, she is absolutely elite. I think probably on the level of a Guro Wrighton, if not better. She is so technically skilled and brilliant on the ball. She has the ability to do some of the things that Lauren James can do, maybe not as physical, but on the ball, just a real presence, has an eye for the perfect pass. And if she is able to be healthy this year, I think she does give Lauren and Guro and anyone else who has that number 10 spot in their mind a real run for their money. Jesse Parker Humphreys, friend of the show, said as much on Twitter as well, that, Bompastor is going to have to figure out a way to get her in the game. And it's odd, too, when you think about it within the context of Lauren James, because Lauren's been our best player for a couple of seasons. And Lauren's kind of all over the place right now. I think she's dropping deeper to try and get herself into the game. Wasn't really effective on the wing against Palace. I think got more effective as she moved in and started kind of interchanging with the ball as it moved around a little bit more quickly. Lauren's going to have to pick up this year too, because it's a different system. Bompastor is going to ask, different things of her than Emma Hayes did. And so it's going to be very interesting to watch that number 10 role and see, if that's Guro, if that's Lauren, or if that's Kat Macario in that more advanced central role, because Kat at her best could be a really, really dynamic challenger there. When you look at the table, these goals really matter, and I'll tell you why. Chelsea on top of the table, where we like to be, 2 matches played, 2 wins, 8 goal differential. So 8 goals scored, 0 conceded, 6 points. United, 2 goals or 2 matches played, 2 wins, 4 goals, 0 conceded, only a 4 goal differential. So, we've already doubled their goal differential in first place. Spurs in third on 4 points. They have a 4 goal differential. Arsenal have a 1 goal differential on 4 points in fourth place. City on 4 points in fifth place with a 1 goal differential. Brighton and Hove Albion in sixth on 3 points with a 3 goal differential. Liverpool, Villa, Leicester, West Ham, Everton, and Palace make up the the rest of the table. And it really is hard to see a team like Palace staying up. They're already at a negative 11 goal differential in 2 games. They've conceded 11 so far, 7 to us, 4 in their first game. Not going to be an easy task for them to stay up. But we're going to close this one out. We're going to talk about the future, because the future is that because of our postponed fixture against Manchester United on Sunday, we have to look ahead to the Champions League. And, producer Jake, cue that song, because Real Madrid come to Stamford Bridge on Tuesday, October 8th. If you are in the UK or if you're visiting at this time, please get tickets and make that atmosphere amazing. This team truly deserves a complete and utter raucous atmosphere at the Bridge. Please, please, please show up and support these guys. They are amazing to watch, and they're just amazing characters and people. So that is on October 8th. Following Saturday, just 5 days later, you get Arsenal away. This is going to be a difficult one, playing their games at the Emirates this year. We've had some real battles with them. So Chelsea are able to get one over on Arsenal at this stage of the season. Obviously, that puts more and more distance in the table early on, which is hard to make up. Then Chelsea on the 17th of October go to FC Twente for their second Champions League group stage game. And then right after that, on October 20th, you got Tottenham at home in October. So, look, there's a lot going on here. But I do want to close this out by saying for the Real Madrid match, a notable return of one Melly Loopholes, who has, of course, been in Chelsea for the previous 4 years. She has made her mark at Stamford Bridge during the Champions League. She's made her mark at Kings Meadow during league play and all these sorts of things. But just welcome back, Melly. You were a wonderful member of the team, and we're sad to see you go, but it'll be cool to see you return on Tuesday. So, look, that's what we got for this kind of inflated Chelsea women's midweek special here on YouTube. Let me know what you think about the formats and everything that's going on here. Would love your feedback, critical or not. It's okay. We'll just continue to get better at these. But until next time, Chelsea fans, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high.